obviously the train attack was a false flag, and I mean, this is going to come out in the next couple of days. But look, you know, the type of individuals that were on that train, I mean, this wasn't just, you know, your everyday passenger.
This is the highest value target. This
is House GOP members heading to a summit at Greenbrier. Okay, they're heading to a summit at Greenbrier in West Virginia. And this is important.
For folks who don't know, that's a COG base. They say it's no longer one, but it really is one.
Absolutely is. Project Greek Island, the underground bunker, heavily guarded as we speak by the U.S. Marine Corps. We're in full war footing, and it's happening right now. But
that's right. Trump's literally gone to the bunker for what's about to happen. He understands we're in full war mode.
The most sophisticated fallout shelter with complete capability and connection, hard tethered to D.C. and the Pentagon. I mean, Greenbrier, that's not by coincidence.
It's the former alternate government, for people that don't know.
100%. So the train attack was blatant and obvious. That was done by remote, done with drones. They put a patsy in there, but it was done with drones, remote controlled. The train was being followed by choppers and drones. They were wary because the streets were supposed to be shut down. There shouldn't have been nobody in the area. They were alerted, going to get done in time. There were some very interesting anomalies going on during the attack when the garbage truck was hit. Luckily, it was neutralized to a certain point. It was only that truck being hit, but it could have been much, much more dangerous, and I can't get any further.
Well, I mean, isn't that generally the message is we can get you, that was the final warning?
Well, they played their jack of clubs with Joe Kennedy in the rebuttal. They played, they pulled the 1-2 okie doke, the audible, getting crazy Maxine out of there and putting Joe Kennedy, and people laugh and they mock his rebuttal, which it was cringeworthy. But you have to understand what's being done there. I mean, if you have a pulse and a frontal cortex, you have to understand what's going on there. His family lineage, that was a complete message to Trump to say, what happened to JFK, what happened and went on there. So he better had look uncomfortable because he was sold out. And that's a message to Trump and the GOP. And obviously you see the false flags that followed afterwards. He's not he wasn't the left golden child. That was a jack of clubs move. That was the message to Trump. Oh, you're going to do this? We're coming for you. And Joe Kennedy's, he knows what he's involved in. Stanford, Harvard, he's into it. I can't believe he got up there and said what he said and did what he did, but who knows?
That's right. Let's come back then and get into your intel you say you've gotten, and you're an incredible source. They're planning to hit the Super Bowl. So they have dispatched their operatives to go on television and say, if you release the memo, there'll be a giant massacre. And they've also said that because Trump's criticized ISIS, that he's going to cause big attacks in America. And then clearly that whole thing in Vegas, it's now come out, just as Zach and other sources said, was a false flag carried out during the Saudi Arabian military visit. And then a few weeks later, Trump went in and they arrested all those people, and Saudi Arabia joined the coalition. And Zach talked about all that before it happened, while it happened, and after it happened. So that's why Zach is known to me, not some anonymous QAnon on 8chan, who Zach says is a group of good people, and that we should all look at it, that it's credible. This is Zach. That's his real name. I know his last name. And again, I've matched his voice up and everything to when he's been on national television and interviews and you name it, as a decorated soldier for many years at high levels of intelligence. And he's right there, obviously, in Tampa right now. So I want him to get right to it, because I could just look at their playbook. They're behind, they're burning, their shadow government's falling apart, their deep state infiltration's falling apart. Everything they've touched is turning to dust. They tried to overthrow the president. That was a bunch of crimes. It's blowing up in their face. Now they're desperate, saying don't release the memo. They've gone from saying, oh, it's no big deal, to being so scared. What's the false flag intel you've got? Can it be stopped? And then how does it tie in to the next shoe to drop, and what you're expecting them to try next, and what is in the memo?
Okay, so there's a couple false flags that occurred in the weeks prior, and we haven't slowed down. They've all been foiled. I mean, if you want to go to Hawaii, if you want to go to a couple other things that we could get into after we get into this, but the Super Bowl false flag, what I need your guys to do there, your crew and all the Infowars at home, is just get on the FBI Twitter right now. Look at what they posted today. Look what they posted yesterday. These creepy videos about how big their security is going to be. They're running drills, exercises. This is all their public push. And look into the typography on the videos that they have posted on their Twitter. You could pick it up right now. I have my own intel that we're going to get into, but just publicly what they're doing. Obviously, there's a war between the White House and the FBI. That's no big secret. But when you start looking at very unconventional postings about the FBI bloating and kind of floating about exercises and this amount of power they have over the Super Bowl this weekend on their public forum, which they've never done, maybe Trump has sort of changed that zeitgeist. But yeah, just look at their things and look, the chatter's out there. I can't get into certain speculations, but the word on the street is this. And this is credible, and everyone who knows what they're looking at is looking at this. And this is on blotters. Intelligence communities are looking at this. There's an attack planned for this weekend at the Super Bowl. During the State of the Union, you have Trump. First of all, throughout the entire year, Trump's been at war with the NFL and the kneeling. He brings them up. Obviously, all the stuff with the FBI and the NFL as of late. There's a credible threat this weekend, and on the world stage, the biggest stage in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, Little Mogadishu, the biggest Somali community outside of Somalia. So it's credible. It's real. They always have exercises and these sort of things going on while these are going on, to have one of their wind-up cutouts do something right underneath their nose for the world to see. And they are in a desperate measure here. They've continued to do false flags for many months that Trump has neutralized and sort of, played this sort of 5D Zen chess with them. But they need to know that they're desperate, and doesn't mean that, something, that they could pull something off here, because there are credible threats. This weekend, they're trying to pull off something big. It could have a dirty bomb effect for the world to see. They would love nothing more to embarrass the American people, hurt the American people, and hurt Trump. The city is set and setting perfect for this sort of thing, and this is not just a stretch by my part. That's why nobody's kind of been talking about it, but the threats are out there. There's chatter out there. We're tracking it, but so is the FBI. But to be honest, we can't trust them. So we're going to need to sort of be very vigilant and try to stop this right here. This is very serious. This is very credible. Hasn't been in the news, but make no mistake, a lot of people know about this, and it's obvious.
Zach, let me raise this. Clearly, they've set Trump up against the NFL. He stood up against it and said, why are you being anti-American? They would love to make themselves the victims. They have said that if you keep criticizing us, you're going to cause a massacre. That's been the warning from the globalist deep state to Trump by their capos publicly on television. So would they have a Somali do it as the backup and then blame a patriot to say, oh, look, a Trump supporter truck bombed the Super Bowl. Oh, my God, it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Or would they just have a Somali do it and say, oh, because you've criticized, Islam, you caused this to happen, and then try that as a distraction from the whole FISA memo and everything they've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, it's going to be many Somalis. Unfortunately, it's going to be many Somali individuals. We've heard the chatter. We know what's going on. It's conversations like this that hopefully, blow their spot up. But we're showing
video of the Mall of America right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it's a group of Somali individuals. There's obviously ISIS will take credit in conjunction with these individuals, but obviously the deep state has its hooks in when it comes to these groups, and they are deep state ran. This is Al Qaeda. They are going for their last grasp. But what we have to understand is this: we hear everything they're doing, we see everything they're doing. So these individuals are desperate, and they've picked their sides. I'm hoping that they have a change of heart, and we have to understand that the State of the Union really publicly changed the momentum of a lot of things. And the people on the left that are not going along with this, I just don't get it.
I picked up that it broke the back of some of the stay-behind networks, and it also, the poll show reached through to people who were in their haze. 75 was the average poll point, and that it was I felt spiritually the enemy's back was broken. Is that what you're saying?
100%. But again, a lot of these individuals, they're afraid if they don't go on with the mission, if they don't carry it out, that they will be murdered themselves. But they need to come out as whistleblowers. They need to stop this activity.
Exactly. Well, we've heard that FBI agents and others have been whistleblowing to the intelligence committees and to Trump and others. Trump's all about not letting secret info out, but I think he needs to just start playing the cards now.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing a sort of a game of chicken there with the memo. The memo is going to come out later today. I expect later today, maybe into the morning, but it'll be, it'll be within 24 hours, that's for sure. But they did, sort of play this game and get the postponement of Flynn's, sentencing there, so they know what they're doing. But, let me just let everybody know, in case they're not privy, which if they're not, they're out of their mind. McCabe sung like a bird. He was compromised. Al-Walid. Okay, Al-Walid is a free man now, but make no mistake, he sung like a bird. Okay, Al-Walid told everything. So if your big funder from overseas, this Prince Al-Walid who's walking the streets now, just know that you're being surveilled. Just know that we hear everything.
And let's be clear, for those that don't know, he was the ringleader of the Saudi breakaway group funding much of the deep state.
Trump showed up on his first official visit anywhere to a foreign country, to Riyadh, to the House of Saud, waved the sword. And obviously, we saw the change there. Walid's a free man. Walid has no loyalty to the United States. His pockets are dry. They're going to let him hold on to his country.
I noticed the king of Saudi Arabia, I've seen a lot of video of him, doesn't normally look really freaked out. He looks super freaked out with Trump.
It's over. It's changing. The State of the Union was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. The lunar activity that was going on, we're not going to go down that road, but it did. This timing is anointed. This is divine intervention. This is something special. This is something I believed in. And we opened the call with the MS-13, the gun running. This is what opened my eyes while I was in the military, and being prepared and being groomed to be something that was ridiculous. And I think a lot of individuals, whether you're a legislator, whether you're a soldier, whether you're an intelligence analyst or operator, you could fall victim to this, and we need to open our eyes and have faith and realize this is real life. Be loyal. Don't do this. Okay, don't do this. These false flags don't end well. And the people who are funding this, these elites on the left and the deep state actors, even deeper entrenched. How do you think this ends? It's over. The writing's on the wall. They're like.
Well, I told Mike Adams off air and everybody else in the studio. I said I've never felt this much energy, this much. Spidey sense, as they say, sixth sense that something huge is about to happen. And I feel good rising and evil rising, and you see it as well. But that's why Trump said, I'll talk to the FBI director maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. That was signaling your whole thing's going to be exposed within. You won't even want the interview, Mueller.
They were going to pull off several attacks all at once around the stadium. I shouldn't say they were, it's still going on, but hopefully we could stop it here. Several attacks to cause panic, herd individuals into a certain location, and detonate a dirty bomb for the world to see on the world stage to embarrass Trump, to embarrass the economy in little Mogadishu. And this ties everything, and it would act as a distraction and an absolute.
Well, that's right, because Trump didn't back down with Vegas, which goes right after his pocketbook hotels and things. Exactly.
Well, and you would notice Trump really didn't even speak about the quote-unquote failed Hawaiian missile test. That test wasn't failed. Those systems don't work like that. That was a neutralized threat. They tried to lure him into a Pearl Harbor type strike on North Korea. We heard them. We saw them.
Yeah, just like Bay of Pigs.